Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Thought it was time for an updates video. Now we're fully into June and a lot happening at the moment, as it always is. And things are progressing well. And I want to talk about a few topics that I'm noticing are having a really big impact, and maybe some other aspects that we're just starting to really get into, and it's showing a lot of potential. What the first thing we're going to talk about is, which is kind of in line with where we've been going in regards to the previous update videos, is talking about this whole concept of the quantum realm and the astral realm. And this has progressed really well. We're making really good progress in regards to this. What was happening is the astral realm, which really the center of that was this whole idea of a black hole, or this gravitational force that was really pulling and drawing light away from you. And when light is really, when we get into duality of light and darkness, right? Dark matter, light matter, is, the quantum realm was essentially a Bifrost bridge, or a light bridge, and then the astral realm was dark matter where light could not escape from. So that's the whole ideology of a black hole in the astral. And that the black hole in the astral realm within our reality of what we call the far field, which was created from this, again, it's the whole idea of you being at the center of your universe, and the whole Big Bang Theory was created this field that encompasses all your realities, and each reality have all your lifetimes or past lifetimes in that reality. So that kind of what you call all the different realities, or the versions of yourself, are really what we call your higher self, or your, more accurately, your higher selves, which are all part of the source lineage. A bit the same analogy of how we look at bloodlines within this simulation or this reality, how we're all kind of connected through a bloodline. Well, in regards to our energy, our self or our consciousness, all part of a source lineage. So is that the light was being drawn upon from the astral realm, because that astral realm's home came from another field, which we call a nomadic field. And the nomadic field, well, the word nomadic means wander, and what we've actually come to find is this is what the multiverse is all about. Okay, and that kind of connects all the dots, because when we look at us being a universe, okay, our source energy was a creation of a field which we call the far field or universe, that we are one of many, and hence why we get to the point of a multiverse or multi-universe. So when we get into that, we're associated with many different consciousnesses or source of energy, right? And a lot of them can be at a level or a conscious that is a lot more advanced as we are. And so it's a great field to kind of be amongst, because we can collectively connect to a lot of wisdom and a lot of consciousness. But at the same time, we can be kind of vulnerable, okay, and that's why we have not wanted to be connected up to that area at this point. But when we can create balance of light and dark within the multiverse, then all of a sudden we can proceed and connect to that field, and benefit from the wisdom and everything that it gives. But again, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a mirror image in a number of ways that we look at life, as this whole duality thing, and that, hey, we need the balance of light and dark within that field. A bit like when we look at our internal flora of the body, we need the friendly bacteria to keep the bad bacteria, mold, fungus, and all these things in check. Okay, it's not about eradicating one, the whole germ theory that we have, where we eradicate every bacteria strain there is. Well, that creates the superbug problem that we see now in modern medicine and in hospitals. It's that analogy of keeping things in balance and keeping things in check. So we see that also within the multiverse. We've created that multiverse to be more balanced now, with doing clearings at that level, that we can now connect to that, and that's now where we're at in regards to that. And what we're kind of using now is we're using tools that are keys, really. The keys are allowing an activation to occur, and it's usually activation of something that was dormant, or a capability or part of your body that needed to be activated. And this is where we're going to get into the next topic, and this is about your mind, and the two components of your mind, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. First of all, I'll just show you the key. Okay, so that's called a key pendant. and this is what has been activated, making a lot of these activations a very powerful tool that I've been using a lot. Now, in regards to activating the mind, we've got, okay, a conscious and a subconscious mind. And I keep getting told that, okay, there's a universal law that a consciousness must grow or must evolve, right? And when we look at whether we're just starting to awaken our awareness and our consciousness of things, like, the food that we eat, being consciously aware of the ingredients list and those sorts of things at that level, or at the level of asking those big questions: where do we come from? Why are we here? And what is reality? And that's been a big question I've been asking for a wee while now, and getting some great answers about. And where a lot of these answers come from, we put that intent out to the universe, and lo and behold, it comes to you. So what that comes back to, the relevance of conscious and subconscious, is that consciousness comes from the word conscious, and that's to be conscious and aware of your surroundings and having the answers of why you're doing things, right? And the subconsciousness is, again, that duality, or the polar opposite to that, where you're collecting information in the subconscious mind that you're not aware that you're actually downloading. And a lot of the time, this is material information that is not needed, and it's just cluttering the mind, okay? And what we see with people that can't be in the present or be in the now is there's so much distraction in life that's pulling us out of the now and creating us to be in an environment of being out of control, when really we want to be in control. Our reality, there's no more important thing right now as me talking to you now on this camera for this video. That's about being conscious, being present, and we need to be in that space all the time, because we are in control, okay, of our reality. When we don't want distraction. What's happening is, within the subconscious mind has really been a channel for this dark consciousness to connect up to us. I like to use the analogy of the mind being an aircraft carrier, and then you've got all the aircraft, the planes in the sky, which are symbolistic of all the different consciousnesses there are, including your own, and they all want to dock down and connect to your mind, okay? And from your conscious mind perspective, they're aware of every plane that's landing on the aircraft carrier, so every consciousness that's wanting to connect to your mind, but your subconsciousness just lets everything in, okay? And if it's a consciousness that's dark and wanting to manipulate you, well, you don't want to let them do you. But the subconscious mind does not doctor that. It just lets everything in. So what we've been doing here at Truly Holistic is we've been using the activation key to activate your subconscious mind. And therefore, when you activate it, in all reality, the subconscious mind is the dormant component of your mind. A bit like how we talk about the DNA, junk DNA. Junk DNA is just dormant DNA that hasn't been activated yet. It's needed a certain frequency or a certain device to activate it. And we've been doing that for a wee while here at Truly Holistic. But in regards to the mind, we want to remove the dormant component of the mind, which is the subconsciousness, make it more aware and conscious. So therefore, your mind is fully 100% conscious now of everything that's going in it. So that gives you intelligence to the level where you can say yes or no to whatever consciousness is coming in, instead of not having control over that. So this is big stuff. And we're doing that for the subconscious, that allows that mind to be fully aware and fully conscious to what it's letting in, the information, more importantly, because this reality, and every reality is based upon programming. And we've been programmed to the nth degree, okay? And this is definitely going to help in regards to allowing what you want in and keeping the things you don't want in out. And a big question I've had all over the years is, how do we protect ourselves? And I think this is probably one of the biggest ways that you can do that. So this is really exciting. We've just got so much stuff in front of me we want to get through, but so what we're essentially doing is we're achieving a super conscious mind, okay, and that's what we want. So yeah, I guess that analogy of conscious versus subconscious goes back to a number of things. Light versus dark, okay. It's, again, these things, you light a torch on something, right, to be aware of it, okay. How do we know if we're in a room that's dark and there's no light, we can't see where we're going. How can we find the door to activate or get out of that place? We can't, right? And I like to also use the analogy of, okay, if you went to an environment that you weren't very aware of, it was the first time you went to that environment and all the lights just went off, you didn't know where to go or whatever, the first thing you feel is fear, right? You're scared because you're not in control. So it's the same analogy here, light versus dark, love versus fear as well. So fear with the darkness, and the darkness coming from the astral realm, and also more importantly the subconsciousness. So we want to remove that component, because if we can allow our mind to be more in control and more conscious, more present, more light will come in, more love will come in. Okay, so if you can see the picture there, all the dots do connect up. Another thing we want to go to is in regards to the astral is when we're in a dream state. When we're asleep, when we're dreaming, people talk about, okay, what about astral traveling? And that's a great question. And a client of mine brought this up, and I thought, why not? Let's look into this. And it was a learning experience for myself as well. And what we found was there was a gateway of the astral within your dream self. And what we need to do is we just close that, and then we open up the gateway to the quantum. Okay, and what that allows is that no channel of manipulation to come through your dreams. Okay, and more importantly, by opening up to the quantum, you can connect with your higher selves and your source lineage, and become more intuitive and grow even while you're sleeping in a dream state. So I think that's two positives. We're removing the manipulation or the cause of manipulation through the dream state, and we're allowing a much greater connection to your higher selves and your source lineage at the same time, and you growing intuitively even though you're deemed asleep. So that's going to improve intuition capabilities and so on, and also again activating that dream self to a high capability using the activation key too. So that's something in the infancy, but we're definitely seeing really cool things happening with that so far. Also, another thing we want to talk about is the relationships or relationship. Now, what came up about relationships is that when we create a relationship between two people, that we create a little source of energy that's bound to those two people. And so if, say, your relationship went pear-shaped and you split up, separated, divorced, you've still got that source of energy or that binding connection that's connected to both of you, and you really need to disconnect that or terminate that, and which allows that energy to be brought back to you, because otherwise that energy is being sent to that source which is still binding those two people together. So that's something that we've been finding and really helping with people that have been trying to disconnect traumatic relationships and problems like that. Another thing that we've been finding in regards to relationships has been is that using the infinity symbol, let's just bring it here, which is that one there, so the 8 on its side. And this was something I got from Brian from Twisted Sage, Brian Besco, in regards to that connection between one person's sacred heart to the other. So this is this connection of consciousness, not from the mind or not from here, but down here, bringing your consciousness here. That's that whole heart-mind capability, but then connecting your sacred heart to a loved one and using this symbol to do that. So you can just place that between the person there and the person here, and that is going to create a more profound effect from your sacred heart to their sacred heart. But even if you don't have this tool, the tools take it to a deeper level. We all have that intent capability where we can just use words and intent, but these tools definitely dial it in at a deeper connection. But you can still do this, is just visualize with your hand and do that 8, okay, those 2 loops between you and that person, and that's going to create a binding. And what we do notice with this is it's a binding. This is a binding of loop here and a loop here, and you can bind 2 things together. So another thing what I've found is that you can put, for example, your photo or name in one loop, and then the photo or name of another person. That's going to bind you to that person in a more loving, sacred heart way. and that can work as a distance tool when you use a photo or someone's name. Also, what your heart's desire is. Maybe that's not a person. Maybe that's something you want to attract in your life. You can use this tool as well. Again, placing the person you want that attraction to go to in one loop, and then putting the intent or the intention note in the other loop to try and allow that thing, your heart's desire, to be attracted to you. So that's another really cool thing that we're finding with that particular tool. And as relationship is a binding, we also look at each person in that relationship central nervous system, because that's their perception center, and try and create everyone's a unique individual. And one thing we must understand in regards to a relationship is, okay, you are in a binding together in a relationship, but there's still two individuals and you still need to grow individually. And so what we do is we also work on the perception center, the central nervous system of each person, and work on that. So therefore, those little things that maybe not connecting up or creating conflict in a relationship, we can address those things too. So that's been really, really cool. And as I say, that sacred heart component of it, bringing the mind down to the sacred space down here, the heart-mind thing, not only for relationships, but just consciousness in general. So that's been really something that's been really working really well too. And last of all, I just wanted to talk about, anyone that does sessions with me will be aware that I use a hypercube or a tesseract for a lot of my clearings. And I've been really doing a lot of dowsing and a lot of getting a lot of information about the capability of a cube. And the cube's got a bad rap, really, mainly because it's been associated with the black cube in Saturn. And that's not really based upon the geometry. It's based on the intent of the geometry, which why it's called black. The whole idea of black witchcraft or a negative intent associated with it. The cube is wonderful in regards to a source of energy. And what I've found is that a lot of geometries are facilitators of energy, but the cube itself is a source of energy, not a facilitator. So when we use that geometry in that way, and we put all our tools or our capabilities, our intents and energies within a cube, we can create a very powerful source of energy. And that's something I'm definitely going to be working further in regards to and tools, and bring them here to Truly Holistic for people. So I thought I'd add that as the last thing, but I hope you've really enjoyed this update video. As you can tell, there's a lot of information coming through in a number of facets: consciousness, relationship, your dream self, and progressing forward in regards to looking at the multiverse. So it's really exciting times. And if you're interested in booking a session, whether that's trying to with relationships, building relationships not only with a loved one in regards to a loving relationship, family, all sorts of things, law of attraction stuff, activating your mind, getting rid of the subconsciousness component, and therefore more awareness. And more awareness and consciousness means more closer to ascension. So if you want to book an appointment, go to my website at trulyholistic.net. Otherwise, continue following me here on YouTube. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram under Truly Holistic. And until next time, see you later.